Good morning, children. Today we will read the lesson, The Ashes That Made the Trees Bloom. We had seen in the previous video about various elements from the lesson. So let's start the reading. Children, reading is something you need to practice, and more you practice, better the reading skills of yours will develop into. So let's start with it. Before I begin, let me tell you, children, this is called QR code. This is called QR code. Now this QR code, if you in your phone you have a QR code reader, it's a scanner, it's an app that you can download. If you are downloading that app, just make sure this code is read in that app, and then this entire lesson audio would be available, so you can practice your reading there. Okay, so like I said, more the practice, the better your reading skill will. So we are doing lesson 4, and before we read, here he gives a small glimpse of the lesson. Glimpse means small view. This is a story about an honest and hard-working old couple and their pet dog. Their neighbors are troublesome, and the dog dies a sad death. The spirit of the dog gives solace and support to his master in unexpected ways. This is a story, and what is the story about? It's a story about an old couple and their pet dog. Children, couple means, I told you, husband and wife, they are called as a couple. Now it comes to honest. And children, remember, I read this word as honest. Though H is there, H is silent here, and you say honest. And hardworking, however the couple, however the husband and wife, they are very, very hardworking, and they were honest. They never tell lies. And this is a story about that couple and their pet dog. And their pet dog, you know what's a pet dog, right? The dog which you are taking care of at home, right? And however their neighbors means people living around their house. And especially in this story, we speak about one particular neighbor who stays very close to their house, and however they were very, very troublesome. That means what? They always create trouble. And what happened to that pet dog? It died a sad death. It was not a natural death. What happens? The neighbors kill the dog, so it's a sad death. And the spirit, Atma of the dog, it comes and gives solace. Solace means giving a, so solace means comfort. Okay, though the dog died, its Atma used to give comfort to this old couple, and then it was supporting them also. So in this story, we are going to see in all unexpected ways, the ways you didn't think possible, how this particular spirit of the dog was supporting the master. So let's read the story. In good old days of the daimyos, there lived an old couple whose only pet was a little dog. Having no children, they loved it as though it were a baby. The old dame made it a cushion of blue crepe, and at the mealtime Muko, for that was its name, would sit on it as snug as any cat. The kind people fed the pet with tidbits of fish from their own chopsticks, and all the boiled rice it wanted. Thus treated, the dumb creature loved its protectors like a being with a soul. So let's see. Here says, in the time of daimyos, remember 19th century, that is 1800 change around, the landlords were ruling Japan, and that was the time. Now there was this couple, I told you couple means husband and wife, and they had a little dog as their pet. And they didn't have their own children, so they treated the dog as it's their own baby, their own child. And remember I said though. Though is read as though. Now the dame means old woman. What did the old woman do? She made a cushion, a pillow for the dog. And what was the color of the pillow? Blue. And what material did she use? She used crepe. I read it as crepe, children. Concentrate on that. Crepe means like satin, like silk. This is also a type of cloth. And how did the dog like it? It used to love that pillow, and it used to sit snuggling into it, sitting warmly, comfortably in it, as like a cat sits around. And then every meal time means when they are sitting down to have their lunch or dinner, and Muko was the name of the dog. What would the couple do? They will always give the tidbits. Tidbits means small pieces of food. So right, food, there was a fish and they used to eat boiled rice, and they used to give this to the small pieces to the dog, that is Muko. Children, chopsticks, like we use spoons for eating. If you go towards China, Korea, Japan and all, they use chopsticks. Chopsticks look like two sticks, that's why the word is sticks there, and they would be long. And imagine, these are pencils, but imagine they are like this long, and then using this, there is a way that you need to hold them, and using this they would pick the food and they would eat. So that's a chopstick, children. Thus treated the dumb creature. Dumb creature means who cannot speak. Now dog cannot speak, right? Can it speak like us? It cannot speak. So he says dumb creature. Loved its protectors because they are the masters and they protect the dog, so they are their protectors. Like a being with a soul means like a human being only, it used to love the master. Children, look at this word. I read it, though it is D-U-M-B, I said it as dumb. Dumb, and I am not saying B ka sound. B would not be pronounced. Usually when B is at the end, most of the times we don't pronounce. Like C-O-M-B, you say comb. Children, it's not comb. We should say comb. B is not pronounced there. Similarly, this is your thumb, right? Now thumb, you won't say thumb. It is thumb. B is not pronounced. Similarly, a dumb, B is not pronounced. Creature means living organism. Okay, creature means an animal or living organism. Now let's see the next one. Since I already started telling you the story, so my most concentration is to help you with pronunciation and learning the meanings of the words, children. The old man, being a rice farmer, went daily with a hoe or a spade into the fields, working hard from morning until Tento-sama, as the sun is called in Japanese, had gone down behind the hills. Every day the dog followed him to work. Now let's come back. The old couple mein, the old man, what was he? He was a farmer. And what he used to grow as a farmer? Rice. So he's a rice farmer. And daily, that means every day, with a spade. Spade means, what do you call it? We call it as para. It would be wide construction area mein they will use, children. This would be a wooden handle. With this they will mix that cement and all in the construction site, if you see. So that is your spade, otherwise called hoe. And he used to go to the field and he used to work hard. And this Tento-sama is a Japanese meaning from morning till night. Sama is, here it usually means he is referring to Tento-sama as in sun. So he says from morning till the sun goes down behind the hills. That means what? When I am saying sun setting, usually I will show as if sun is going down the hills. That is sun setting time. Right? And along with the master who used to go to the field, the dog used to go to the field along with the old man. In the previous page, there are these two words, never once harming the white heron that walked in the footsteps of the old man to pick up the worms. For the old fellow was a patient and kind to everything that had life, and often turned up a sword on purpose to give food to the birds. So dog used to go along with the old man, and it never used to hurt the heron. Heron is a bird, children. It's like long neck birds, and they are seen in the rice fields and all. So this bird used to come down, and why the birds used to come? Because in the soil you will have small worms. So to eat the worms, the bird used to come, and old man was very, very kind. That means helpful person and very patient. He never used to rush or hurry around. And what he used to do to help the heron, he used to turn the sword. Sword means soil, children. So he used to just to move the soil so that more worms will come out and the bird can eat the worms. Okay. And that's how he was a helpful person. One day, the dog came running to him, putting his paws against his legs and motioning with his head to some spot behind. So what happened? The dog Muko came running to the master with his paws. Remember the feet of the dog, they are called paws. So he put it on his master's leg, and motioning means, children, motion, M-O-T-I-O-N, shun, I-N-G, motioning. Motioning means indicating, making some kind of action with his head. That means turning his head and showing some spot. Spot means place, children. Saying that, see, come there, something is there. The old man at first thought his pet was only playing and did not mind it. But the dog kept on whining and running to and fro for some minutes. Then the old man followed the dog a few yards to a place where the animal began a lively scratching. Okay, now let's see what happened. The dog came. So first old man thought, no, it must be only playing. He left it. But when the dog was still not leaving him, he went with the dog. And at one place, the dog started scratching. Means it was pulling the mud. Okay, so let us concentrate the words, children. I told you how to pronounce the word motioning. I told you spot means place. Okay, now I use this word as thought. Okay, T-H-O-G-H-T, thought. Right? Think, thought. Okay. Then whining. This is called whining. Whining means making that crying kind of a sound. Running. To and fro. Usually in science, your teachers will tell you to and fro. That is, now I am doing to, fro, to, fro, to, fro. This is called to and fro. Back and front movement. Okay. And this is minutes, hours, minutes, this is how we measure the time. Children, yards means measurement. Few yards means it's like distance, a few meters, few seconds. Yards is also a measurement of length. Okay. So, and this is called scratching. S-C-R-A, scratching. T-C-H makes ch sound. So scratching. Okay, scratching. So when you have an itching sensation, what do? You scratch on the skin, right? So that is how here the dog was scratching the mud. Thinking it was possibly a buried bone or a bit of fish, the old man stuck his hoe in the earth when, lo, a pile of gold gleamed before him. So what happened? The old man thought it is digging the mud. So he thought maybe usually dogs do it now when there is some bone or something eatable and all. The dog must be scratching, digging around. So man thought, let me help the dog. So what did he? He took his hoe. Remember that spade? He started digging. And what happened? Lo, means this is exclamation, children. That means wow, something happened. What happened? Pile. How do you read this word? Pile. Pile means heap. Pile means heap. A heap of gold. Gleamed. G-L-G-L-E-A-M-E-D. Gleamed. Okay. Gl-E-M-D. Gleamed. Children, there are two vowels. Usually if two vowels come together, only the first vowel will make a sound, and that too it will make a long vowel sound. So E and A here will make a E sound, and that too not short E sound, that is E sound. Here it will make long vowel sound, that is E sound itself. So gl, E, M, D, gleamed. Gleamed means shining. Okay. So there was this pile, a heap of gold shining before him. Thus in an hour, the old couple were made rich. The old souls bought a piece of land, made a feast for their friends, and gave plentiful to their poor neighbors. And as for the dog, they petted him till they nearly smothered him with kindness. So what happened? See, within 1 hour, he went to the field, he was poor man, and all of a sudden he became a rich man with lot of gold and all. And what did they do? They purchased a piece of land. That means they purchased one piece of land here means a plot kind of thing. They purchased with that gold. Next, what did they do? They arranged a feast. Feast means dinner, food party. They arranged a party for the friends, and not only that, they gave plentiful lot of food and all they have given to their poor neighbors also. Neighbors were poor, so they gave lot of food to the neighbors to help them. And for the dog who gave them helped them with all that gold, what did they do? Petted. You know, you pet your dog. That's why it's a pet dog. You loved him, and loved him how much? Nearly smothered him, means with their kindness. They literally drowned him with their kindness. That much they were showing their love on that dog. Okay, so here come back to the word. I told you couple. How do you read this? Couple means husband and wife. And then I said this is soul. Soul means atma, right? And then feast, for east, you know, east, east, north, south, east wala. So east, feast. How do you read? F makes f sound. So east, feast. And this is plentiful. You know, plenty, plentiful. Okay, neighbors. Okay, and pet. From the word pet comes petted. Now smothered. SMO makes sma, d. Smothered. D. Smothered. And okay, so please concentrate on the sounds we make and how we are reading it, children. Let's continue with the story. Now in the same village there lived a wicked old man and his wife, not a bit sensitive and kind, who had always kicked and scolded all dogs whenever any passed their house. Hearing of their neighbor's good luck, they coaxed the dog into their garden and set before him bits of fish and other dainties, hoping he would find treasure for them. But the dog, being afraid of the cruel pair, would neither eat nor move. So what happened? There was one more couple in the village. Only thing is, these were wicked people. Whereas our old couple were kind, these were wicked. Wicked means very bad people kind of thing. Right? And how were they? They were not sensitive, not kind. They never liked anyone. They were never kind to anyone. And what they used to do, they always used to kick and scold the dogs. Now, when any dog goes from their house, whenever passed by means whenever any dog is going from their house, they used to throw things on it, kick it and shout at the dog. But when they heard the story of this old couple who had the good luck of finding gold, what did they do? They started coaxing. Coaxing here is coaxed. Coax means to soft talk to the dog, calling it please, come kind of thing. This is called coaxed. Coaxed. Okay, coaxed. And how did they started calling the dogs, showing him bits of small pieces of fish and small dainties, means food substance, very different types of food substances. Why did they call this dog Muko all of a sudden? Did you think that they loved Muko? No, it's only because they wanted Muko to find them also a treasure. But the dog Muko couldn't do it because he was actually afraid of this old couple, because they always used to shout and kick at him. And they were a very cruel pair. Pair means again couple. They were a very cruel people, both husband and wife. So what did the dog? Dog did not eat anything, neither did it move from its place. Then what did these people do? Let us see. Then they dragged him out of doors, taking a spade and a hoe with them. No sooner had the dog got near the pine tree growing in the garden than he began to paw and scratch the ground as if mighty treasure lay beneath. So they said they didn't leave the dog. They started dragging him, pulling him by force. So dog, what did they do? He understood, okay, nothing can be done. So there was one pine tree in the garden. He went to the pine tree and started scratching with the ground with the paw. So this cruel couple thought, oh, there is a garden, there is a treasure for us. They immediately started working at that area. Now, dragged is a past tense for drag, children. A spade and hoe, I already told you, right? Then any other new word here? Nothing that I can see. We know this beneath, right? Beneath means under. Quick, wife, hand me the spade and hoe, cried the greedy old fool as he danced with joy. So that couple, the man, what he said, he was dancing with joy. He was so happy. Oh, I got the gold. And he started crying. Here means not crying, children. That means he, out of happiness, he shouted at his wife to say, go quick, run and get me that spade so that I will dig and we will find the treasure now. Then the covetous old fellow with the spade and the old crone with the hoe began to dig, but there was nothing but a dead kitten, the smell of which made them drop their tools and shut their noses. Furious at the dog, the old man kicked and beat him to death. The old women finished the work by nearly chopping off his head with the sharp hoe. Then they flung him into the hole and heaped the earth over his carcass. So covetous is the word. So what happened? When the dog started showing, the old women went, brought the hoe and the spade. The old man and old women started digging. When they dug, they didn't find any gold. In fact, what did they find? They found a dead cat, a kitten. Kitten is a baby cat, right? So there was a dead kitten. That smell was coming. It was under the ground. It got decomposed. A very, very nasty smell was coming. And that smell was so bad that we literally had to close their noses, block it so that they wouldn't smell that stench coming. Stench means a bad smell coming. Okay, they got so angry with the Muko that they started hitting. Both man and women started hitting the dog, and what happened? The dog died, and the dead body, the dog was put in that same pit they have dug. In that they have put and covered it. That means they buried the dog there. Children, covetous. How do you read it as? Covetous. 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 Covetous means greedy. This is fellow. Fellow means man. Okay. Crone. How do you read this? Crone. Children, don't read crony. E is not pronounced. E at the end in English, we don't pronounce. This is crone. Since E came here, here O will again make its long vowel sound. It will not make short vowel sound of or. It doesn't make. Here instead it will say long vowel sound, that is O. That's why it is crone. Now crone make, don't say crony because E is not pronounced. Similarly, I didn't say hoi, I said ho because E is not pronounced. If E is at the end, usually in English we don't pronounce it. And we don't pronounce it, and the vowel before that will make a long vowel sound, children. This is a rule you should remember. Okay, and what was there? Dead kitten, and the smell was so bad that they shut their. Furious. Children, furious means angry, very, very angry. Furious means angry. Furious. 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 And they were so angry at whom? At the dog. And what did they do? They kicked him and beat him to death. Then they killed the dog. Okay. And chopping means cutting off. The old woman was hitting the dog with that spade and sharp hoe ke saath. So almost the dog ka head got cut off. And then what did they do? That they dig the hole, right? Thinking there is a gold. That hole they have put the dog and they have covered it. Heaped the earth over means covered it, buried it under. Carcass means dead body, children. Okay? Carcass means dead body. The owner of the dog heard of the death of his pet and mourning for him as he had been for his own child, went at night under the pine tree. So the owner, our old man, the kind old man, when he heard that Muko was dead, he was mourning. Mourning means he was feeling very, very sad. And then what did he do? He went at night to the pine tree where the dog was buried. Okay. Owner, we know the owner, and here I read it as mourning. Okay, and ing. M-O-U-R-N. This is earn. Ing. Morning. Okay. So, and you know what's a pine tree? It's a type of a tree. He set up some bamboo tubes in the ground, such as are used before the tombs, in which he put fresh flowers. Then he had laid a cup of water and a tray of food on the grave and burned several costly sticks of incense. He mourned a great while over his pet, calling him many dear names as if he were alive. So, what did the old man do? He went at night to that pine tree where Muko was buried, and then he took some bamboo tubes. I told you bamboo is hollow in the center, so that he put it in the ground, and then there he has even put fresh flowers. Usually tomb means samadhi, so that he treated that as that Muko samadhi, and then he put fresh flowers. He put a cup of water. Laid means to lay, to keep. A cup of water and a small tray mein there were food also. He put it at the grave. Grave means again samadhi. And what did he do? Costly sticks of incense. Incense sticks means incense sticks. We use them at home, children. Incense sticks means agarbatti. Okay, he has put that agarbatti. Mourn, I told you, mourning means to cry. For a much time he sat down and he was crying, calling the dog very beautiful names, like dear, oh darling kind of things, when chinna, kanna, how your parents call you kind. And he was crying because remember they treated Muko like their own child. Then what happened? That night the spirit of the dog appeared to him in a dream and said, cut down the pine tree over my grave and make from it a mortar for your rice pastry and a mill for your bean sauce. So what happened that night? He went home. The old man slept. In his dreams, no, you know what's a dream, right? When you sleep, you get kala, that dreams mein, sapna. In that dream, the spirit of the dog, spirit means Atma of the dog appeared, came in his dreams. And what did the dog say? Cut down the pine tree. Remember the pine tree where my grave is there? Go there. My samadhi is there. You cut that pine tree and use that wood of the pine tree to make a mortar for your rice pastry and a mill for your bean sauce. So dog said, use that wood, and with that wood you make a mortar. Mortar means, children, your mother grinds at home, small in bowl kind of a thing made of stone and all. Jisme she makes your chutney or dal and all. She will paste it, right? That is called mortar. In Hindi we call it as okli, right? That. So he said, for you making your rice pastry, you need to grind the rice, right? So you use me there. And make a mill. Mill here means, I am talking about hand mill, children. Hand mill means we use it at home. It would be like this, made of stone. And in this we put the dal and then they will grind it. Right, round and round they will turn it. I don't know what it is called in your Kannada, children. We call it as Isurai because it will grind the. So he said, to make bean sauce you need to grind the bean. You make the wood, and use with this wood you make these two things and you use it for your cooking purpose. So let's see what is the magic that is going to happen now. So the old man chopped down the tree and cut out of the middle of the trunk a section about 2 feet long. With great labor, partly by fire, partly by the chisel, he scraped out a hollow place as big as a small bowl. He then made a long-handled hammer of wood, such as is used for pounding rice. So as per the dream, next day morning the old man got up, went to the pine tree, chopped it. Chopping means to cut it. Cut the pine tree, and the middle section of the tree where the stem is the trunk is very thick, no children. He took that middle stem segment, and how much? 2 feet long. Feet is again, remember, it's a measurement of unit, measuring unit. So that big piece of 2 feet he took, and with great labor, that means with great hard work, partly a part of it by burning. Center space he burnt it, then it becomes like ash. So you can scrape it and remove. And other half with the help of a chisel. Chisel is like uli, with which the stone and all you do carving. So with that, he scraped out. Scraped out means small pieces of wood he slowly removed till he made a hollow place in the center of that 2 feet long wood, till it became like a small bowl in which you can put anything and grind like your mortar. So that is your mortar now. And one piece he has used long handled hammer. And why? Because if I have a mortar, for your mortar, your okli, you have that wooden segment which you beat. Na? So we call it as pestle. In English we call it as pestle. Pestle, pestle. With the pestle you do that pounding. Your mother puts garlic, chilies in that mortar and she grinds it with that stone piece. Na? That is called pestle, children. So he made that also, but here he is using wood. And why? For pounding the rice. Pounding means to beat. When you beat the rice, then only it will become the powder, right? So crushing it. When New Year's time drew near, he wished to make some rice pastry. When the rice was all boiled, Granny put it into the mortar. The old man lifted his hammer to pound the mass into dough, and the blows fell heavy and fast till the pastry was all ready for baking. Suddenly, the whole mass turned up into a heap of gold coins. When the old woman took the hand mill and filling it with beans began to grind, the gold dropped like rain. So what happened? New Year's time was there. So old man decided, okay, now my mortar is ready, my mill is ready. Why don't I make a rice pastry? So with the rice, to make something like your roti kind of a thing, like a puff. So for that what you have to do, first you have to make a dough. So he boiled the rice, and then the old lady put it in the mortar that they made with the pine wood, and then they started pounding it so that it will turn into a nice dough, right? But what happened when the man started beating and dough was done and he was about to put it for baking, and at that time suddenly when they saw in the mortar into that wooden bowl, the entire dough has changed into gold coins, heap of gold coins. Heap means pile, remember, pile of gold coins. Magic, right? And what happened? The old woman also at that time, she took that hand mill again made of the same pine wood, do you remember? And in that she had put beans for grinding because she wanted to make a bean sauce with the rice pastry. And all of a sudden when she was grinding, instead of the bean powder coming out, what was coming out was gold coins. And you see, again the dog helped them to become rich. Meanwhile, the envious neighbors peeped in at the window when the boiled beans were being ground. So what happened? These neighbors, they wanted to see what this old man was doing and all. When they saw from the window, envious means envious means they were jealous. These jealousy neighbors, when they saw from the window, they saw that beans when the old woman was grinding in the hand mill and it was turning into gold. So what happened? Goody me, cried the old hag, as she saw each dripping of sauce turning into yellow gold. Until in few minutes the tub under the mill was full of shining mass of gold. So the old hag again is a word I use for old lady. So the envious neighbor, the jealousy neighbors, that old lady said, what? This lady is grinding the sauce and sauce is turning into gold. And they were very, very jealous of this old couple. So the old couple were rich again. So our old couple, the kind couple, were rich again. Next day, the stingy and the wicked neighbor, remember that other wicked neighbors were there, that husband and wife. They were very wicked, very bad people, and they were stingy. Stingy means what? They were not ready to spend money. They don't like to spend money. Stingy, stingy. Right? So what did they do? They came and borrowed the mortar and the magic mill. They saw, they said, can you give that? And this, our old people being a very kind people, they gave both. Now what did the jealousy neighbors did? They filled one with the boiled rice and the other with the beans. Like these old couple had done, they also in the mortar they put the boiled rice. In the hand mill they had put the beans. Then the old man began to pound and the woman started grinding. So old man was beating the boiled rice in the mortar, and that wicked lady was grinding the beans. But at the first blow, the pastry and the sauce turned into foul mass of worms. Still more angry at this, they chopped the mill into pieces to use as firewood. So what happened? Did it turn into gold? No. For them it turned into a foul mass of worms. Worms means, you know, that small insects kind of thing. It's not insects, they creep, children. Okay, they creep, and it is having a foul, very bad smelling worms were there. And our envious neighbors were so angry. They got gold, we got worms. And what did they do? They took the mortar, they chopped it, that is, cut it into pieces, and the hand mill also was cut into pieces, and threw this wood piece into the fireplace so that it will be burnt. So what they did? They burnt that mortar and hand mill, and it turned into ashes. Now what happened? Not long after that, the good old man dreamed again, and the spirit of the dog spoke to him, telling him how the wicked people had burned in the mill made from the pine tree. Okay, so the dog also came back again into the. So what did they do? They burnt it. They burnt that mortar and mill, and they burnt it into ashes. Now what happened? Long after that, the good old man dreamed again, and the spirit of the dog spoke to him, telling him how the wicked people had burned the mill made from the pine tree. So in the dream again to the old man, the spirit of the dog, the Atma of the dog, came and said, you know that wicked people to whom you gave the mortar and the mill, they burnt it, and they have turned it into ashes. Then what did the dog say? Take the ashes of the mill, sprinkle them on the withered trees, and they will bloom again, said the dog spirit. Dog spirit said, you see, they burnt it into ash. Now you go, take that ash. Then you go to any tree which is withered. Withered means dry, not having any trees and flowers and leaves and flowers on it. Take such a dry tree, and on that you sprinkle this ash. And what you will do? You will see a magic happening, and this withered tree will bloom again. It will have lots of leaves and fresh flowers on it. So that's going to be the magic there. Sorry for adjusting the camera, children. And so let's continue. The old man awoke and went at once to his wicked neighbor's house, where he found the miserable old pair sitting at the edge of their square fireplace, in the middle of the floor, smoking and spinning. From time to time, they warmed their hands and feet with the blaze sumbits of the mill, while behind them lay a pile of broken pieces. So when the old man went and saw what happened, he saw the neighbors were sitting near the fireplace where the mill and mortar was broken into pieces, and a part of it was already burnt into ashes. This old couple were sitting and they were warming their hands. The good old man humbly asked for the ashes. Though the covetous couple turned up their noses at him and scolded him as if he was a thief, they let him fill his basket with ashes. So what happened? The old man said, can I take some ash? First the covetous, remember that jealousy, greedy couple, they started shouting at him as if he is come to steal something from their house, right? But then they gave him, because did he come to steal, children? No. It was his own mortar and pestle and mill which these people have burnt. Actually, it was their mistake. Still, the man was very humble, very respectful in asking. At last, they allowed him to take the ashes. On coming home, the old man took his wife into the garden. On coming home, the old man took his wife into the garden. It being winter, their favorite cherry tree was bare. He sprinkled a pinch of ashes on it, and lo, it sprouted blossoms until it became a cloud of pink blooms which perfumed the air. The news of this filled the village, and everyone ran out to see the wonder. So old man took the ashes, came home. He took his wife into the garden. In the garden there was a cherry tree. And the cherry tree, how was it? It was bare. Why? It is winter. In winter, you won't have any leaves or flowers on the tree. So it was bare. So what did he do? He took that ash and he sprinkled, powdered on the tree. And what happened? Lo, behold, there was the magic. What was happening? Suddenly that withered tree started sprouting the blue blossoms. That means flowers started coming, leaves started. Within seconds, the entire tree was filled with pink flowers and all. And the fresh flowers had so much of smell. Perfume here means beautiful smell. And this news spread in the entire village. And everyone ran to see what a withered tree within minutes became bloomed. And that too in the winter. So they came down to see that beautiful sight. The covetous couple also heard the story, and gathering up the remaining ashes of the mill, kept them to make withered trees bloom. So immediately when they heard he sprinkled the ash and the tree started blooming, they also went, took the ashes and kept them. Okay. The kind old man, hearing that his lord, the daimyo, was passing along the high road. Can you see, children, how the withered tree, by sprinkling the ash, has started blooming now? That was the magic happened. Then what happened? One day the old man, our kind old man, he heard that the lord, who is this? The daimyo. Remember I told the landlord. The old man heard this landlord is going to go from that road. He will be passing their village. And what did our old man do? When he came to know that the landlord would be passing from their village, immediately the old man set out to see him, taking his basket of ashes. As the train approached, he climbed up into an old withered cherry tree that stood by the wayside. Wayside means on the roadside. There was a withered cherry tree, remember, because it's winter, no leaves and no flowers. He chose one and he stood by that tree. He was standing there near that tree. Now children, train doesn't mean today ka train. Train here means a procession, children, a huge number of people going in a group, like a huge procession. Okay, so that the landlord was going, along with him all his servants and all will be going. So that train, when here train means that procession was going. That road kept on the side of that road, there was a withered cherry tree, the old man stood by it. Now, in the days of daimyos, it was a custom when their lord passed by for all the loyal people to shut up their high windows. They even pasted them fast with a slip of paper so as not to commit the impertinence of looking down of his lordship. All the people along the road would fall upon their hands and knees and remain prostrate until the procession passed by. So in those days of daimyos, there was a custom. Custom means a practice. What was this custom? When this daimyos, that is landlord's procession, would be going on, people at their high windows, means see, in the first floor, second floor, it would be above the road, right? That windows also they used to shut down, and some of them used to close it with paper so that it should not look as if they are looking. So if they are looking from the windows, what it will look? The Lord is down and they are above the Lord. They are above the landlord is very, very bad, right? It would be insulting. So they would even shut that. That is one. Second, what they will do? They will be on the road standing, and as the procession is there, they will be falling on their hands and knees. Like you do namaskara to God on your knees and hands. Like that they will remain prostrate. Prostrate means you do the Shashtanga Namaskar kind of. They will lie on the road like that till that procession will pass. That was the custom, children. See the word daimyos. Okay. Next, custom. C-U-S-T-O-M. Custom means practice. Right. Then there is a word commit. Impertinence. I am P-E-R per T-I-T-N-E-N. Nence. Impertinence. impertinence. Okay, and lordship. Lordship is that he is addressed as, that is an addressing. You'll say my lordship, right, like that. And then prostrate. Children, that's how I'm telling how to break the word and read is what you have to remember. Prostrate. Okay, I will read it this way, children. One second. Prostrate. Prostrate. So prostrate. Prostrate, we read it as prostrate. Prostrate means lying on the ground. Then procession. Okay, procession. Usually we have to break it this way, children. Here for your pronunciation I have done, but double segments we never break, children. Procession. Okay, procession. So when I say here, I will read it as single S only. Procession. Okay, procession. The train drew near. One tall, competent man marched ahead, crying out to the people by the way, "Get down on your knees, get down on your knees." And everyone kneeled down while the procession was passing. So the train, remember I told you procession, not the train as our trains now. So one tall, competent man means one person in the front of the procession, very tall man. He was shouting. What he's telling? He's telling people, get down on your knees. The Lord is coming. And everyone started kneeling. Kneeling means what, children? Sitting on their knees as long as the procession was passing. Right? So let's see the words. Competent. Competent. A person who is eligible, very good at. Okay, crying and all. I told you knees. You know that word knee, K-N. This is plural form, children. Otherwise, knee may K is not pronounced, children. So N is pronounced and double E may single E. So knee. Okay, that's how the word kneeling, kneeled happens. So next, what happened? Suddenly, the leader of the van caught sight of the aged man up in the trees. He was about to call out to him in an angry tone, but seeing he was such an old fellow, he pretended not to notice him and passed him by. So, when the daimyo's palanquin drew near, the old man, taking a pinch of ashes from his basket, scattered it over the tree. In a moment, it burst into blossom. So what happened? That person who is going in the front, remember? Leader of that van. Here again, van or a train means that procession, children. He caught sight. Children, S-I-G-H-T, sight means what? Vision. That means something you saw. Okay? Sight here means see. S-E-E-C, something you have seen it, right? He saw the aged man. Aged man means old man who was on the cherry tree. Remember, withered cherry tree. But he said, first he was angry. He was about to tell him, come down. Lord is coming. You kneel down. Then he said, Arey, he's an old man. Right? So he just pretended. Pretended means he acted as if he did not see. Pretended not to notice. And he just kept quiet. So when the daimyo's palanquin means pallaki, right? So when this pallaki or the royal van, we call it, this one is going on. You know, in olden days, Rajas, Maharajas, and at the time of marriage, a bride is made to sit in pallaki. We call it in Hindi as pallaki or pallaki, we call it in that. So palanquin is that pallaki, children. So what did the old man do? He scattered, spread the ashes. Immediately what happened to the tree? The tree started to blossom, have the fresh leaves and flowers like a magic. The delighted daimyo ordered the train to be stopped and got out to see the wonder. Calling the old man to him, he thanked him and ordered presents of silk robes, sponge cake, fans, and other rewards to be given him. He even invited him to his castle. So what happened? The daimyo saw the magic happening. He was surprised. He was so happy. He called the old man and said, this is really very good. And he told his people, give this old man lots of gifts. Okay. And he even said, he told the old man, why don't you come down to my palace, my castle? So now let's see the words. Delighted. D-L-I-G-H-T. Delighted means happy. The happy daimyo, what he has done, ordered the train, his procession to stop. And he wanted to see the wonder. Okay, he wanted to see the wonder. Then he called the old man and he thanked the old man and ordered the presents of silk robes. Robes means clothes, children, right? So he gave lot of silk clothes. Sponge cake, we all eat that sponge cake, right? So sponge cake, fans. Now children, what are these fans? If you see, again in China, Korea, Japan, these people have a hand fans. And that's a very, very beautifully painted, delicate hand fans. And they always carry them with them. Men or women, they carry those hand fans and they open the hand fans, then they use those hand fans. And it is very, very costly. Okay, so he gave such costly hand fans to the old man. And many other rewards, very money and lot of things were given. And what did he do? He invited him to the castle. Children, castle means like a palace. And remember, I am not reading it as castle. This is read as castle. Castle. Don't read teeth, children, there. So this makes k sound. So castle. Okay, that. So the old man went gleefully home to share his joy with his dear old wife. So old man was gleefully, happily, gleefully, happily went home to tell his wife what happened today. But when the greedy neighbors heard of it, he took some of the magic ashes and went out the highway. There he waited until a daimyo's train came along, and instead of kneeling down like the crowd, he climbed a withered cherry tree. Remember, our greedy neighbor, he is always ready to see and do what the old man is doing. So he also took that magic ashes, because the old man took it from their house only, na? So this man also took that. He waited when one of the lords, many landlords, so one of the lords were going from that. He also went. He also sat on the tree. And he didn't kneel down, but he also sat on the tree. When the daimyo himself was almost directly under him, he threw a handful of ashes over the tree, which did not change a particle. So when the daimyo was passing and almost the daimyo's palanquin was right under the tree, he immediately sprinkled the ashes. Nothing happened. Okay, no magic happened. But then what happened? The wind blew the fine dust in the noses and eyes of the daimyo and his wife. Instead of magic happening, what happened? The wind was blowing by, and this ashes fell on daimyo's head, eyes and noses, and his wife's eyes and noses. Such a sneezing and choking, it spoiled all the pomp and dignity of the procession. So everyone started sneezing, coughing. Imagine groups, a huge group of people, nicely dressed. Instead of being they are sneezing, laughing, coughing and all. So everything went out. The man whose business it was to cry, "Get down on your knees," seized the old fellow, fool by the collar, dragged him from the tree and tumbled him and his ash basket into the ditch by the road. Then beating him soundly, he left him for dead. So what happened? The man who usually, remember the man in the front who used to shout, "Get down on your knees," that fellow went, pulled the old fellow by the collar, then throw him down the tree, and they bet him. All the workers bet him. So this is what happened. Now let's see the words, children. We know daimyos, handful. Other day in the news article also I gave you this handful. Handful means how much you can hold it in your one palm, one hand. Okay, that's a handful. Mutti bar we say, na? This is mutti bar. That is handful. So he took the ashes, and then when he's thrown, what happened? The wind blew that into the noses of the people. And what they started sneezing. Sneezing means what? You do that achi, no? What do you call? I don't know. That is, we call it as sneezing. Okay. So sn, e, z, ing, sneezing. And choking, remember, everywhere nose and all, you are not able to breathe. That is called choking, children. Pomp, p, pomp, dignity, procession. Okay. Seized means to take. Okay, that is seized. Okay. Then next, collar, your shirt ka collar, that is it. Tumbled, tumbled means to fall down. Okay, that's all. Thus the wicked old man died in the mud, but the kind friend of the dog dwelt in peace and plenty, and both he and his wife lived to a green old age. So the author William Elliot Griffiths says that old wicked man who got lot of beatings, he died. And this old man of ours and his wife, they dwelt in peace. That means lived, dwelt, dwelt means lived in peace and plenty. That means they had lot of money, na? They were rich. And both he and his wife lived to a green old age. Means what? Till they became very, very old, they happily lived, children. So this is how today we have concentrated on story. More than the story, we were looking at word ka reading, and I tried my best to help you with pronunciation, children. Right? Hope you understood. Hope I could help you with your reading. So practice a lot, children. More you practice, better would be your reading skills. Right? So take care of your health. God bless you.